So since my last video about Palantir, which was like 3 or 4 months ago, Palantir has gone up like 130%. So why has this happened and where do we go from here? So Palantir has sort of had it coming for a while now that it's gonna shoot up at some point. Its revenue's been growing like 30% year over year, US revenue like 44% year over year. It got its record net income of $144 million, which is like the highest they ever got so far, which makes sense. It's like a growing company. They've been securing government contracts, which is like one of my main reasons of investing in them, because the government contracts are where the big money is. So like $619 million contract for the US Army Vantage program for the military relying on Palantir's data solutions, and then another like $100 million for military targeting tools. And a lot of this has been driven by the AI hype, and Palantir is being seen as like an AI market leader sort of thing in a very lucrative industry, which is defense. But most recently, the biggest driver of the stock price might have been the inclusion in the S&P 500 and soon to be the Nasdaq 100 as well, if it's not already in there. So that's just like big institutional money like flowing in, and Palantir seems to have now like settled around the $80 mark right now. But where do we go from here? So right now its PE ratio is something ridiculous, like around 400. And for it to get a PE ratio that is reasonable for its industry and for general like blue chip S&P 500 sort of companies, it needs to like multiply its revenue by like 10-20x, if not more. In fact, more. Like that would probably just get it like at a reasonable level, which would still be really high and overvalued. And that is to get it to its peers, which are also considered overvalued. And keep in mind that that would mean that its revenue would have to multiply by like 10-20x, and its share price would have to stay at 80 for it to be considered like okay. And before we continue, I just want to say that nothing in this video is financial advice and it's for entertainment purposes only. Most of the big blue chip companies like the Microsoft, Google, Apple, and Palantir's competitors are all like mostly well below the 50 mark for their PE ratio. And while there are still more catalysts and reasons for Palantir to do well, such as the Trump administration, which will probably spend more on national security, on the government entities like the CIA and the FBI and the immigration thing, which should mean more contracts for Palantir, I still just don't see like how much more it can go up from here. Like if it continues going up with a share price going up very exponentially in contrast to its revenue, its PE ratio is just going completely out of hand. So my strategy for the stock, which I'll share with you, and it's up to you what you want to do moving forward, but my strategy is that I had bought it at an average price of like $17, and I sold it when it was like 4.5x or something like that. So when it was around $70, I think, I just sold half of my holdings, which was, so I cashed it. So the amount I cashed out was like a bit more than double my initial investment, I think. And I left in my initial investment ×2 as well. Right now, I'm free riding Palantir. So worst case, if Palantir went to zero tomorrow, I still have double my initial investment cashed out and reinvested or whatever. The more I think about it, and the more I think, what if the Trump inauguration becomes like a sell the news event sort of thing? So if Trump winning the election has increased the hype for the stock, would that be like the rumor, buy the rumor sort of thing, and then his inauguration would be like a sell the news, like okay, now it's all done, now time to take our profit. So I don't know, I'm considering halving the position again. So basically just leaving like the amount of my initial investment in there, because it has gone up so much. Like, I don't know, like how much more is it gonna go up? So even leaving this, like even the only reason I even left this double amount is because now after I like halved my position when it was like 4x, it's now like significantly less than 10% of my portfolio. So it's like an amount that I'm comfortable just to see what happens with it. But at the same time, I don't want to pull another like Lucid. If you know what happened to me with Lucid, you can maybe check out some older video. But I don't want these gains to just suddenly disappear, because at some point everyone just realizes, okay, yeah, Palantir is way overpriced. This is not really gonna work. It would need to like increase its revenue and margins like significantly and very quickly as well. And of course, there are like all sorts of analyst expectations and ratings, and people still seem to be rating it as a buy. There are price targets of like $168, $150, and there's price targets of $40, $11. Okay, I don't think it would go down to like $11. I feel like that's quite unlikely. But $160 or something like that is gonna be like ridiculous. There's gonna need to like I saw some price target of like $160 ish in the next 3 months. Like if that happens, great for me, great for whoever's in it. But like that just sounds so unrealistic. Like I can't see that happening. But at the same time, I wouldn't have seen whatever's happened to it so far happening either. Like the way it flew this much in such a short amount of time. So honestly, it's a crazy stock. Like you never know. That is actually why I've left. Even the amount that I've left it because it's kind of like, let's just see what happens. It's a bit of like a gamble, but it's like a free gamble because I've taken out my initial investment and double it. I understand that not everyone might have this luxury of having 4x'd or something and being able to just take out half of that and free ride it. So each person has their own situation and their own portfolio and their own proportion of how much of their portfolio it's taking and their appetite for risk. It's an interesting stock to say the least, along with, of course, the other stocks that we'll maybe talk about in another video. Palantir has also been, like, what's also helped it go up is the general market sentiment. Like, the general market has just been going up because of whatever interest rates, politics, geopolitical tensions going up and down, whatever. So in general, the market has just been like going crazy lately, and stocks like Palantir and IonQ and stuff like that have really been like shining through. I even recently have been seeing uranium, nuclear energy stocks doing well recently. So maybe the next video could be related to those. But anyway, this was just a little update video. So let me know if you guys are in Palantir and how it's been going for you. And if you haven't got in, why you haven't, or if you sold, just let me know. Whatever you guys think of Palantir, let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and comment and subscribe and share the video with your friends. And make sure you're subscribed so that next time you see the video about the stock before it goes up. And anyway, that's all for this video, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.